I watched my uncle lose everything in his 50s, and nobody saw it coming.
He did everything right for decades, then made 5 critical mistakes in just 3 years. By 58, he was starting over from zero with no time to recover. The scary part? These same traps are waiting for millions of men right now. Your 50s are the most financially dangerous decade of your life, and here's why. You're at peak earning power, but you're also at peak vulnerability. The decisions you make in this decade will determine if you retire comfortably or work until you die. Let me show you the 5 biggest financial traps that destroy men in their 50s. Trap number 1 is what I call the lifestyle inflation explosion. You finally have the income you've worked 30 years to achieve. The house is paid off, the kids are grown, and your salary is higher than ever. So you start living like you deserve it. The boat, the luxury car, the vacation home. But here's what nobody tells you about your 50s. This is your last decade to actually build wealth, not spend it. Every dollar you spend on lifestyle in your 50s is a dollar that can't compound for retirement. My uncle bought an $85,000 truck at 52 because he finally earned it. If he'd invested that money instead, it would have been worth $340,000 by retirement. The psychological trap is brutal. You feel like you're finally winning. But you're actually entering the danger zone where bad decisions have permanent consequences. Trap number 2 destroys more men than anything else. The divorce avalanche. Statistically, divorce rates spike for men in their 50s, and it's financially catastrophic. You lose half of everything you spent 30 years building in a single legal process. Your retirement accounts get split. Your home equity gets divided. Your future gets cut in half. But the real damage is what happens next, that nobody warns you about. You're 54, suddenly single, and trying to rebuild your entire financial life with 10 years left. Most men in this situation make it worse by jumping into expensive dating and lifestyle changes. They buy the sports car, join the expensive gym, start traveling to feel young again. I've seen men blow through $200,000 in 2 years trying to restart their lives. The math is simple but devastating. You can't recover from a 50% wealth loss in your 50s. Trap number 3 is the one that sneaks up quietly. Aging parent financial drain. Your parents are now in their 70s or 80s, and they didn't save enough. Suddenly, you're covering their medical bills, their living expenses, maybe even their housing. The average cost of supporting aging parents is $7,000 per year, but it can easily hit $30,000. And here's the trap within the trap. You can't say no because they're your parents. So you drain your retirement savings to take care of them, sacrificing your future for their present. My uncle spent $120,000 over 4 years on his mother's care home costs. That money came straight out of his retirement fund, and he never recovered it. The guilt makes it impossible to make rational financial decisions. You end up in your 60s with nothing because you gave everything to the previous generation.
Trap number 4 is something most men don't see coming. The Boomerang kids.
You thought your kids were launched, independent, living their own lives.
Then the economy shifts, they lose a job, a relationship ends, and suddenly, they're back home. But they're not teenagers anymore. They're 28-year-olds with car payments and debt. The average parent supports an adult child for 3.5 years at a cost of $1,000 per month.
That's $42,000 that should be going into your retirement instead.
And most men can't set boundaries because they feel responsible for their kids' success. You end up paying their rent, their student loans, even funding their failed business ideas. I know a guy who gave his son $75,000 for a startup that collapsed in 8 months.
He was 56, and that was supposed to be his retirement safety cushion.
The hardest truth? Helping your adult kids often hurts both of you in the long run. Trap number 5 is the absolute worst. Catastrophic health events without proper insurance.
Your 50s are when your body starts sending expensive warning signals. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, the risks skyrocket, and so do the medical bills.
The average out-of-pocket cost for a major health event is $30,000 to $50,000, even with insurance.
But most men in their 50s are underinsured because they feel healthy and invincible. My uncle had a heart attack at 55 and didn't have disability insurance. He couldn't work for 18 months, burned through his savings, and lost his house.
By the time he recovered physically, he was financially destroyed. The tragedy is that disability insurance in your 50s is expensive, but still affordable.
Once you need it, you can't get it, and that's when the trap closes completely.
Now let me show you how to avoid every single one of these traps.
First, treat your 50s like financial overtime, not a victory lap. Every dollar you save in this decade is worth $3 in your 60s.
Cut lifestyle inflation ruthlessly. Drive the paid-off car. Skip the boat. Invest the difference. Second, if you're married, invest heavily in your relationship right now. Therapy, date nights, communication. It's cheaper than divorce by a factor of 100.
And if you do divorce, protect yourself with a financial planner before signing anything.
Third, have the hard conversation with your parents about their finances today. Find out what they have, what they need, and what you'll realistically be able to contribute. Set clear boundaries and stick to them, even when guilt tries to override logic.
Fourth, create a written plan with your adult children about financial support limits.
Define exactly what help you'll provide, for how long, and under what conditions.
It feels harsh, but unclear boundaries destroy both your finances and your relationship.
Fifth, get serious about insurance. Disability, life, and long-term care.
Yes, it's expensive in your 50s, but it's infinitely cheaper than the alternative. Your 50s are not the finish line. They're the final sprint before retirement.
Every financial decision you make now echoes for the next 30 years of your life. My uncle rebuilt slowly in his 60s, but he'll never have the retirement he planned for.
Don't let these traps steal the future you've worked your entire life to build.
Subscribe if this opened your eyes to what's really waiting in your 50s.